Okay, 1121, they want us to solve the equations and inequalities, and they want us to complete the square. Okay, so here we go. Let's complete the square. So I have x squared minus 2x is less than or equal to 3. I'm going to add 3 to both sides, right, because I'm getting ready to complete the square. So half the middle term is -1, squared is 1, so I'm going to add 1 to both sides. This side factors to x minus 1 squared is less than or equal to 4. Take the square root of both sides. X minus 1 is less than or equal to 2. And x minus 1 is greater than or equal to -2. Now, this was a less than symbol, so using the acronym LAND, right? Less than is AND. So this is an AND. And you have to put that in there, right? So we get x is less than or equal to 3, and x is greater than or equal to -1. And you can leave it like that. That would be fine. If you want to write it in concatenated form, you would write -1 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 3. You can box that. Either one of those two is fine, right? Don't box them both, but either one of those is fine. Okay, let's do B. So B, we have x squared plus 4x, right, equals 3. We take half the middle term and square it. We get 4. Half is 2, squared is 4. We add 4 to both sides. So x plus 2 squared equals 7. Take the square root of both sides. X plus 2 equals plus or minus root 7. Subtract 2 from both sides. -2 plus or minus root 7 is the answer to B. Do not approximate it like the book does. Leave it in radical form. Okay, C, let's make space. C, we have x squared plus 12x is greater than -39, right? I subtracted 39 from both sides. So half the middle term is 6, squared is 36, so I'm going to add 36 to both sides, and I get x plus 6 squared is greater than -3. So right now, whenever you get a negative on the right-hand side, something's going to happen. It's either going to be all real numbers or it's going to be no solution. So the question you ask yourself here is, when I square something, so over here on the left, right, I have something squared. When I take something and I square it, am I going to get a number that's greater than -3? Well, I'm always going to get a number greater than -3 because when I square anything, I get a positive number. And a positive number is always going to be greater than -3. So this one is all real numbers. All real numbers. Right? Okay, and then D, let's make space. D, we have x squared minus 3x, equals 13.75, right? So we're going to take half the middle term, which is 3 halves, -3 halves, and square it, and we're going to add 9/4 to both sides. That's 9/4, right? So this becomes x minus 3 halves squared, right? 13.75, right? Let's rewrite this as an improper fraction. So 13, if I want to do it in fourths, 13 times 4 is 52, plus 3 is 59/4. So 59/4 plus 9/4, right? So I get x minus 3 halves squared equals 68/4, right? And then we want to take the square root of both sides. Okay, this doesn't look right, and I see why it doesn't look right, so I'm going to back up, and you probably caught it by now, right? So I'm going to change this, and I'm going to change that. So when I was converting, let's do it over here, 13 3/4, and I was making this an improper fraction. 13 times 4 is 52, and 3 is 55/4, right? Okay, so this was 55/4, plus 9 is 64/4. That makes more sense. So now we take the square root of both sides. X minus 3 halves, right, equals plus or minus 8 halves. So x equals, add 3 halves to both sides, 3 halves plus or minus 8 halves. Okay, so let's come up here. So I have 3 halves minus 8 halves, and I have 3 halves plus 8 halves, right? Two values. So 3 halves, so x equals, right? 3 halves minus 8 halves is negative 5 halves. And 3 halves plus 8 halves is 11 halves, right? So there's the solution set. Negative 5 halves and 11 halves.